Hi, hello, and welcome back to Cricket Static Season 3, powered by Wannaby. I'm Tasmay Krishnan, the show host who's bringing you the most with regard to cricketing action, and I couldn't be more enthralled for this episode. Like I am to introduce my sponsors for the nth time, Wannaby. They've got a fantastic AI algorithm which makes everything real estate an absolute breeze. If you want anything regarding real estate, let's say you want to rent a property, whether you want to buy a property, and you're slogging on the streets in that heat, especially in Chennai, I don't see what you're waiting for, because they've got a solution for almost everything. They can literally come to your doorstep, and you also get you a doorstep if needed. So please do give them a visit. They have some exciting projects coming up in their pipeline as well. So please do check them out. And without any further ado, I'm going to get into this review. I've got my phone side by side to keep a tally of the scores that were scored by almost every single player, because this match was a high scoring encounter, but I'm absolutely not for such games. I'm going to voice my dissent throughout the show, and please do bear with it because I have a point. I'm talking from the futuristic point of view of world cricket. Scoring 287 runs with 3 wickets in 20 overs. Is it nice to see a bowler getting trashed and whacked around across the ground? I don't think so. Maybe it's enthralling, maybe it's going to be a good money-making agenda for the BCCI, maybe it's going to encapsulate a big range of audience for the IPL, but is it good for world cricket? Not a single individual who was there in that stadium would have asked themselves this question. For them, it would have been the Paisa Vasool match. I gave the money, I got to see a good batting from both the 11s, so I am happy. That's not cricket. At the end of the day, cricket comes down to an even contest between bat and ball. Since the game has started, it has always been dominated by the batsmen. And I feel the bowlers are slowly losing their relevance in the game. In fact, there were rumors that RCB might run into a game with 10 batsmen and Mohammad Siraj, and they might rely on Green, Maxi, Will Jackson, Mohammad Siraj to helm the ball and hopefully get a few overs from Virat and Faf, because that is what cricket is progressing towards. When you have 277, 276, 273, 283, you have 246. When you have such scores, 223 from the KKR, I'll post that review tomorrow as well. When you have so many 200 runs, plus games, coming onto the mix, automatically the bowlers are getting demotivated to come out and bowl on those surfaces. Chinnaswamy is now only a batting surface, because RCB need to realize that you've got a weak bowling lineup, but you've got to be able to cater to that bowling lineup as well. By making a batting-oriented surface, you're not helping the batsman at all. Probably, you're saying, you know what, let me score 250, but your bowlers are not good enough to defend it. I'm willing to play a little bit of my bucks, that I'm earning, saying that, you know what, an under 23 Tamil Nadu team can take on this Royal Challengers Bangalore bowling attack, because it's horrendous. They're almost fighting as if who can give the most runs on a given day. And not a single bowler is established barring Mohammad Siraj, in my opinion. Letting go of Yuzvendra Chahal in that auction, I know hindsight is a perspective that on a personal note I don't like to revert back to, but it's something that has really cost them a lot, because Vanindu Hasaranga, quality leg spinner, let him go. Let Yuzvendra Chahal, the leading wicket taker in the IPL, go, and ever since then it's been straight up downfall for the Royal Challengers Bangalore. But I'm still going to continue upon this, because I feel cricket is now, completely inclining towards the batter's favour. It's almost as if the batsmen are spoon-fed with such doctored and curated surfaces. And I feel, not only this, a lot of people will say, look at the fact that the pitches aren't deteriorating. It's actually staying, good throughout the 40 overs of passage of play. But my perspective is that the bowlers are going to lose interest in the game. Why would I want to come and bowl at the Chinnaswamy? Why would the younger generation want to become a bowler when you see Virat Kohli, Faf du Plessis, when you see Dinesh Karthik, when you see Travis Head, you see Aiden Makram, you see Henrik Clausen turning it on. Why would you want to become a bowler? Everyone would be so inspired, because the thing that we Indians believe very easily is that agar wo kar sakta hai, to main bhi kar sakta hu. If he can do it, even I can. So that's the point that I'm trying to say here, that I think cricket is slowly setting the wrong example for the younger generation, that being a bowler is a sin. And that's exactly, it might not perceive to be that way. It might be a misconception from my end as well. But the common opinion from the experts who actually understand the game would be that, the bowlers, there's absolutely nothing in it for them in this game anymore. And for them to have a say in the game, they've got to go back to their orthodoxy, hitting the hard lengths. Like, you can't try to go for the wickets anymore. T20 is all about being defensive. Learn that from Mr. Ravichandran Ashwin. Learn that from Mr. Akshay Patel. These are the kind of bowlers who come in and say, you know what, I'm just going to come and restrict the run flow. Whether the wickets fall in my end, it doesn't make a difference. But I know inevitably the wickets will fall from the other end. So that should be the thought process. That should be how it should work out. And now coming on to the review, let's keep my point of view aside and let me review it as any other game. 287 is a mammoth of a total. Take absolutely no due credit away from the Sunrisers batters that they played badly. They played wonderfully. They were a notch apart from the rest in this IPL. They've shown that all through it, setting the highest score, total in the IPL ever, and they beat their own record now in this season too. So they've had a tremendous run, and I've got my phone again, as I'm saying, to just see the scores, because I really couldn't keep account of it. Travis Head 102 of 41 has got to go down as one of the most, I don't know what would be a good word, most aggressive hundreds probably. And it left me, my excitement was palpable as I was seeing him bat, because almost every single shot he shimmied down the track, he moved outside the leg stump, pulled them over square leg. And I want to know what wood his bat is made up of, because I definitely don't think it's made of English willow, because that's something else, that bat, because it's just coming off the middle of the bat like an absolute dream. So that speaks volumes of what kind of form that Travis Head is in. Sometimes when you're in form, that when you miscue a ball and it goes towards covers, that guy is going to drop it, because when you're in form, automatically there's so much of pressure on the fielders, there's so much of pressure on the bowler, that a lot of mistakes happen. And you can see that with Travis Head, the execution was off from the RCB bowlers. It was off full as well from the RCB bowlers. And coming on to Henrik Claassen, because I can't touch too much upon this Travis Head innings, because words can't describe a knock like this. Coming in and taking the game away, you almost knew, as if once he notched up that ton, that it's game over, it's done so for the Royal Challengers Bangalore. But coming on to Henrik Claassen, who in my opinion is going to be the MVP of this tournament, because the kind of tournament that this man is having, I think SRH is going to say that, whether he's 75 or 76, 40 years down the line, just play with a walking stick for us. Because the way he's picking the spinners, the way he's stepping down against pace, I think his strike rate has also gone up from 146 to 152 as well. So the substantial increase, in the strike rate, that shows how much he's working against the Pacers. And let me tell you, he's no sitting duck against pace. I've said this again, and I'm saying this again. I said it in one of my previous episodes. And I say this because, a lot of people just look at Henrik Claassen and say, oh wow, he's a great player of spin. He's a decent player of pace. But a strike rate of 146 at the position that he bats in, not even getting the power play versus Pacers, and now taking that to 152 and elevating his spin striking prowess, I think Henrik Claassen, he's a player of his own mettle. He's someone who's come out with such dynamic display of shots, and it's an absolute treat to watch Henrik Claassen bat. When he's batting, it's not poetry in motion. It's almost as if a rock band is composing a song, because there's so much of those richy shots that he plays. And his bat swing, it's almost as if the way he plays the shot and completes it, there's this sense of, nuance in the way he completes the shot. A lot of finesse that goes behind every shot that he's playing. And more often than not, you're left awestruck when you see him bat against the spinners. And coming on to the next player who played a good innings, it's got Aiden Markram and Abdul Samad. I'll come to Abdul Samad. He only made 4 runs a ball. He just made 4 runs a ball. That's nothing. And Aiden Markram played another very good cameo. Could he have fired a little more? Could he have propelled them to 300? With this 287, imagine if I'm saying this. Imagine 32 of 17 seems like a letdown. So I think any other team would take a 32 from 17 from someone like Aiden Markram, who when he turns it on, he's a different player. So I think because of the total, this innings does not look very good in relativity. But Abdul Samad, 37 of 10. The smallest boundaries in this IPL, barring Dharamsala, has to be the Chinnaswamy in India. Because you touch the ball and it's going out of the fence, because you've curated the pitch in a way in which only the batsmen are heaping the gifts of an advantageous surface. And once you're bowling into the surface, it's coming onto the bat. All you have to do is stand back and deliver. And if you don't time it also, Abdul Samad has got some imposing biceps that when he touches it just goes out of the ground. So I think he's also having a very good season. I think SRH have found out the entry points for all their players. They found out that, Mayank Agarwal is not fit for my 11. Abhishek Sharma can only open. He's not a great batsman at 3. Travis Head is only good enough to exploit the power play. After that, whether he gets out going for the shots, we don't have a problem with that. But whether he gets going, then that's even better for us. That's a lucrative for us. Henrik Claassen, let's keep him flexible. 1 down, a situation at which he was sent yesterday. Good decision. Terrific decision from the management. Had they kept Claassen behind and sent Markram above, Markram would have eaten a few balls, because of complacency. And that's a natural feeling with most players. But sending Claassen above was a quality decision. And coming on to the RCB bowling, I just want to read out the economies. Will Jacks 10.67. Starting off with him was a mistake, first of all. But starting him with 11 was a very good decision. But starting off with the new ball with him, that was a bad decision. Reece Topley, 17, 4 overs, 68 runs for a wicket. And, I mean, you've got to play Lockie Ferguson. And they introduced him late. He's picked up 2 wickets, 4 overs, 52. Though both were horrible deliveries, you've still got to give them that credit because he was running in and steaming in a few 150 kph deliveries. And he is the only bowler there who was toiling out there for the wickets. And he has finished with 4 overs for 50, 213 and over. Mahipal Lumror, 1 over 18. Is he your all-rounder? I don't think so. You've got to develop his bowling skills because RCB have to find that balance between having probably 9 all-round or 9 batsmen and 2 bowlers, out of which you can have 2 part-timers in those 9 batsmen, 2 good all-rounders and probably those 2 bowlers, because that's the only combination I can see that this management can figure out. Or if the speculations are true, they can go in with the 11 batsmen as well, because it's not like you have a bad bowling attack. It's not that. It's just that your ground in which you're playing, you've got to be able to assess and pick the right players in the auction. This is a 3 out of 10 bowling attack. Had you had another addition who could have been your wicket-taking option, who could be a power play run restrictor, who could be a death bowling restrictor, or even your middle overs, restrictor, one more, lucrative in your arsenal, then this team would have looked, a different, in a different perspective. It wouldn't have become an 8 out of 10, but it would have at least propelled itself from a 3 to a 5. So that's what I'm talking about. It's all about that auction. You can't go for the names over the game. That's something that RCB have been screwing up on a consistent basis. The only thing that they've been over the last few years has been the dissent from their fans. And, despite all of that, if you have such a loyal fan base, I think you've got to be able to pay back to them. And coming on to the RCB batting, this was good batting. I have to say the RCB batting has looked very good. Occasionally they've misfired, but, throughout the tournament, at least 3 batters have stepped out through it. And one has to be Virat Kohli, 42 of 20, a very elegant innings, with some very good shots as well. And I think this is the Virat that the selectors want to see. Come out there and go for the runs from ball 1. We really don't have a problem whether you take time to adapt or not. But, as the innings progresses, at least keep going for the shots, because we have the batting depth now. We've got the variety as well. So I think that's a thought process. Coming on to Faf du Plessis, 62 of 28. That was a great innings in my opinion, the way Faf played. Again, a lot of aggression on this surface. This 62 could have probably been an 80. And it could have been a different game dynamic, because RCB have barely lost by 25 runs. And I say barely. In other game scenarios, 25 is a lot. But when you score 287 and you've combated back with 262, or you've rebutted with that much, that speaks volumes of your intent. So had there been that one big innings from these next 3 players that I'm naming, Will Jacks, 7 of 4, Rajat Patidar, 9 of 5, Saurav Chauhan, I'm still to see that spark in him, but I think he's got a player. He's a good player. And I think it's going to be the next match. He's definitely going to convert something big, until and unless RCB play the usual card of dropping a youngster after one bad game. And I think had one of them scored a 20 of 10, I think extras and everything else would have added up to a good win, a solid win for RCB, the highest total ever in the IPL then. So it would have been it would have been a great game of cricket had one of your next 3 batsmen fired. Will Jacks was very unfortunate to get run out, but I'm very pleased to see the way Faf and Virat have gone about opening their batting. Faf, when he came about initially in the tournament, he looked a little out of touch. He didn't look, the same Faf du Plessis who would shimmy down the track and go over the bowlers. His bat comes straight over his left shoulder after playing the shot. So that wasn't the Faf du Plessis that I had seen. But, now he's coming back to that old resonant tale of Faf that we all love to hear and watch as well. Virat Kohli is just enjoying his cricket like Rohit Sharma is. They both have no sense of fear. They don't have any pressure, but I think that Virat would like some clarity on whether he's opening or playing at 3. I would personally like him to see him open the T20 World Cup, and that looks the most viable and feasible option in my opinion. And coming on to Dinesh Karthik, I've got to give him an ovation. What a knock. In his swan song, a perceived swan song, because of the season he can extend, all of a sudden back in the mix for a T20 World Cup. It's the year of the T20 World Cup, and Dinesh Karthik comes back to form. It's something that I've heard over and over and over again. The memes are flooding social media, and that worries me, because will the selectors not be taking it seriously, saying that he said the same thing last time and he didn't perform. He had a horrible T20 World Cup, no doubt about that, but I think DK can be given a shot, in all honesty. But do you want a top order wicket-keeping batsman? Then it's definitely not DK. Even remove him from your top 5. You can even take someone else ahead of him, even a youngster, because he's not going to be in your top 5. He's got to be a 6 or 7. So Dinesh Karthik at number 6 or number 7? Is it as bad as an option to take him as a replacement for Rinku Singh if anything goes wrong there? I think I'm willing to take that gamble, but he's got to have a good season throughout as well. 83 of 35, 237.15 or 14 strike rate, and that was a terrific innings. The match, even against the Mumbai Indians, he played a blinder versus, he played some beautiful shots. I think there was an over of Madhwa where he kept reverse scoping him. A shot that he played of Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. My, because he went over that square third man fielder, he reverse scooped him, and I remember sitting like this in my hall watching the game, because that was Dinesh Karthik. That is the Dinesh Karthik that I would like to see. That is the Dinesh Karthik the world would like to see. Someone who knows, who we all know has all the shots, but over the years has had his ebbs and flows with regard to dip and high spike in form. But the way he played, Dinesh, he was too good. Dinesh Karthik, the way he was batting, a reverse scoop there, 1 over extra. There was a drive that he played, an ostentatious drive. He played a flamboyant reverse scoop of a wide Yorker through the third man boundary as well. His bat angles, the way he's one of the most wristy players right now in India, after Surya Kumar, I could say so, because he's holding the bat in a very weird way. The usual way of holding the bat would be like this. But Dinesh Karthik has wristed himself so much that his bottom hand is coming in so much into the play that if he wants to, he can do this and he can do this with the bat. So he's able to convert into the reverse scoop at will. He's able to go for this, and I don't know if this is true, but from what I feel, this is just my analysis of DK's batting in the nets, is that he's putting himself in a lot of game scenarios. He's telling himself that, right, 10 runs, 2 balls, how do I bat? 100 runs, 6 overs, how do I bat? 20 runs, 1 wicket in hand, 3 overs, how do I bat? So he's putting himself in so many scenarios, so many game dynamics that, it's somewhat you adapt to it when you come to the game. You're like, okay, this is exactly what I have to do. And he's giving himself all the range of deliveries from the throwing arm specialist, is what I feel. This can be just my perception. Whether it would be wonderful if DK could clarify this, but in my comment section, I hope. But if we can, elaborate on this in any interview, it would be great understanding for an analyst like me, because I want to know what he practices in the nets. How does he put himself in that pressure? Because finishing the match is one of the most thankless jobs that you can do. If you misfire, then the team, and the fans, they jeer you completely. But if you win the match for them, they cheer you. But they're never with you through your tough times. So finishing the game is always a very hard job to to exude properly. And I think DK is mastering that art of exuding it properly. So I think I've touched upon the facets that I had to. Pat Cummins, of course, the captain and the bowler. What a spell! 3 overs, I think 4 overs, 26 for 3, 3 for 26. That was a terrific spell from the captain. Change of pace into the pitch and keeping the fielders behind. That's the thing. That's the good tactic in Chinnaswamy. But what the RCB bowlers did was wrong. They tried to go a little fuller. They tried to get the miscues. But in this ground, even if you miscue it, whether it hits you on the back grip, it's going to go for 6 because of the dimensions. So it was a very clever, very cheeky tactic that he employed, going short, taking off pace, making him commit into the shot, and then being tentative and keeping a square leg a little squarer than usual, so that the ball goes straight into his hands. So I'm liking what I'm seeing of Pat Cummins, the captain. I'm liking what I'm seeing of Pat Cummins, the bowler, as well. And this has been a scintillating run for him as a captain, to lead a side like this, which is exuding so much of confidence in a collective way. It's going to really help them in the playoffs. I've called that early as well. So I'm looking forward to SRH, Kolkata Knight Riders, the Rajasthan Royals, and Chennai Super Kings clashing in the playoffs. And I think we all know who's going to win. I'm just not wearing that color today, or else I would have done this. But yeah. So once again, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Crick Static, powered by Wannabe, the world's first 360 degrees buyers only requirement listing portal. For more such riveting content, you know exactly what you have to do. Keep me elated by following me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, and I have an Insta handle as well, Crick_Static. Give it a follow for regular updates regarding the game that we all love. And follow me if you want to DM me regarding the game. Tasmay Krishnan is my account. I'm available on Instagram. And once again, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Share it with your friends and family. If you feel they're like-minded, please do connect me to them as well. Once again, thank you so much. Have a delightful day ahead.